I've always been around my father, and kind of our breakfast, lunch, and dinner talks were always about business, vision, brand building. Flower industry in India, even though it's like over $2 billion, it was very unorganized without any branded player. We work more like a fashion house. That's how our thought process is. Every 4 to 6 weeks, we kind of introduce a new collection, a seasonal collection.
What sets you apart, like from traditional florists?
Each stem is barcoded,
Oh,
and
really?
we kind of keep a track of which particular farm, when it is kind of dispatched, what's the journey that flower is going through. 70% of our customers are repeat customers. There are weddings where we've worked with like 800 to 1000 to 12 to 1500 florists at a given time. The only thing that we wait for is like the client to come in, like the bride, bridegroom, and the family,
Families.
and to just have to see that expression, because that's what means a lot.
Are there any other misconceptions that you've encountered?
The biggest is always that
Hey everyone, this is Shruti. Welcome to my podcast, I'm Just Curious, where I talk of all things I'm curious about with the people I'm curious about and how they turn their passion into their profession. In today's episode, join me as I step into the world of floral elegance with Anuja Joshi, the visionary behind Interflora India, India's pioneering luxury floral brand. Founded in 2017, Interflora offers a transcendent floral lifestyle experience that intertwines decor, design, and gifting. Some of their most esteemed clientele in India include the Ambani family, Alia Ranbir, Karan Johar, fashion houses like Gucci and Dior, and many more. I'm super happy and excited to welcome Anuja with me on the podcast today. Hi Anuja, how are you doing?
Very well. Thank you, Shruti, for such a lovely introduction.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm super excited.
Likewise,
Yeah.
pleasure is mine.
Yeah, you look lovely and the space looks lovely, so I'm very
Thank you so
excited.
much.
Yeah. I just wanted to start by saying a little bit, that this feels like a manifested moment, truly, because I felt like I had you saved on my podcast guest folder, but I couldn't reach you in some ways, and then it just came, the opportunity just came to me, and I felt like, oh, now it's meant to be. So I feel like a very surreal moment, and thank you so much for being here once again. And let's start from the beginning. What did you think of, or that you wanted to become when you were growing up? Like, what were your dreams and passions that you were thinking of at that time?
So, Shruti, honestly, I was a very shy kid, an introvert kid, and I think I'll give a lot of credit to my mom to kind of exposing me to a lot of different fields. And so it was like I'm a classical dancer, which kind of sparked the creativity and the discipline. And probably I have done a chartered accountancy course, which I cleared, but I realized that I have the love for numbers, but I'm a little more creatively inclined. And I come from a family of luxury housing, so always decor and creativity has been very close to my heart. Coming from a business family, I've always been around my father, and kind of our breakfast, lunch, and dinner talks were always about business, vision, brand building, and so much more risk taking. There's so much more that you grow up with so I always knew it had to be something I'll be doing something on my own.
Yeah.
It would be something that is making a difference. I was always very ambitious, and I think I would definitely give a lot of credit to my parents for the upbringing that has kind of instilled all this.
And I feel like you said, that your family business was around and in this space, so then it became like a gradual step further.
Right, like luxury came very natural to me because just how being in luxury, fashion, luxury, home decor, I think, so I knew the space would be kind of something related to design, decor, luxury, into these kind of fields.
Talk to me about like why Interflora? Like, what sparked your curiosity to, and to start a business like this, and what made you see a need for convenience in this space? Especially like, was there something in specific that you saw that, oh, this business needs to be more streamlined, more centralized, more available to larger number of people rather than, being very, very restricted? So talk to me about that.
So after the family business, then on my journey of doing something on, I was heading and running a school in Pune, which was for about 10 years. It was an international school, K to 12, and we would travel a lot globally. So one fine day when I was in London, I received this Interflora bouquet. Interflora globally is a 100-year-old brand, which is across the globe in 108 countries. So the minute I received this Interflora, it enamored me. The kind of the variety and the quality of flowers, the fragrance with flower food, the entire experience, and I was like, oh wow. And anyways, every time I would travel, I was just very curious and intrigued by the sheer variety, color, quality of the flowers, how people would, like, you know, when they're walking home from work, they would just pick up a bunch of flowers. And so it was also beautiful and floral always.
Yeah.
And that really intrigued me. When I started studying realized that the flower industry in India, even though it's like over $2 billion, it was very unorganized without any branded player, or so it was very fragmented and scattered. And that's what actually got me to start looking into reading and doing a little more research about Interflora and how we can get it into India.
So how did you, like, was there like what was the process like? How did you get it? And talk to me about that also a little bit.
So honestly, it was a very long process, and it took a year and a half, with a lot of research from our end to applying. And there was a bid that happened because it's a global brand, and very senior brands and from the country were applying and bidding for it.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was kind
So
of...
it's a competition and you won. So that's even more amazing.
Yeah, so it is like, I think it was just... it was meant to be, and like there was so much research that we had done. We traveled globally as well as in India to kind of put together the opportunity to ensure that, like, you know, and it was a huge investment also, but we were very passionate about it and very confident that this would do really well in India.
But, you know, flowers are grown in different regions, and, you know, some flowers don't grow in some regions, some flowers grow in some regions. How do you source and how do you try to be ethical in sourcing? But the main challenge is sometimes how do you source flowers that probably might not be available in India, but say somebody asked for it or requested for it? So how do you do that?
One of the key to our business is definitely flower sourcing, as you've pinned it right. And it is very important. So firstly, we had to kind of really understand it ourselves. When we traveled globally, we realized that, and meeting a lot of growers, a lot of flower markets internationally, the way they kind of take care of the flowers is more of a science of the flower food, how they need to be cut, the cut stage, at what stage they need to kind of leave the farm, at what condition they need to leave the farm, so that they reach you on a particular date.
Right.
They are conditioned and taken care of, so that when it goes to somebody's house, they do have a shelf life of a particular 7 to 8 days.
Yeah.
So there's so much science that goes behind it. And when when we kind of traveled across India, like say the Dadar markets or the growers or the Gazipur Mandi, we felt that we realized that majority of the portion of the good flowers, right, the best quality flowers are getting exported, and the leftovers were coming through, but through a lot of middlemen. So by the time it reaches the mandi, it's like almost gonna last only for a couple of days. And that's what we want to kind of redefine the entire floral luxury space into the country. And that's where our endeavor started. So we started working with the small, medium and large growers in the country to kind of grow particular variety right from and this needed a lot of education also, because it's about the right quality of the bulb, the right ethical practices, not to use pesticides, to kind of the greenhouse, how they are really going to grow it, plus the water consumption that they do towards the growing, because that's what makes it sustainable and ethical also. So and I'm like today I just feel it's become like one big, large family with where we would work with about 200 to 50 plus growers of all scales in India and internationally. And yeah, they grow specific varieties for us, colors for us. And so it's like largely we run like a fashion house wherein we say, hey, this month of next year, like say Mother's Day or Valentine's, we would like to introduce these varieties. So we do those trials, a lot of research work, and then the varieties are launched. And so yeah, it's a whole process.
So new varieties are also launched. Like flowers have like exotic like varieties as well.
See, maybe cut to like, a few years back when we were doing our research, we realized that the typical varieties, even a rose is grown in say X amount of colors in India. And then like from a lilac rose to a different colors of roses we wanted to launch, or even a typical hydrangea was not really grown in India. And we met so many families and they're like, oh, in my daughter's wedding, my dream is to kind of have hydrangeas. And that's when we realized if it is such a luxury, why can't we get it at affordable prices into the country, into everybody's houses? And that's when we had launched our first bouquet of hydrangea, just like one stem of hydrangea, and that like was a super hit. So again, it's if internationally you get like some 70, 80 varieties of hydrangeas, in India it was not grown to now we grow a couple of colors and varieties, and we're always growing and exploring more. Like in India, there are various regions in which flowers grow, right? So we explore and work a lot with, say, Northeast, Kashmir, down south. So it's Pune. So there are so many, because of the weather conditions are not so conducive always to grow in India as compared to internationally.
Because of the temperature.
It's the temperature that is always in their favor. But like now things are changing and a lot of advancements are helping grow flowers very well in India also.
That's great. That's lovely. I also want to talk about like what sets you apart like from traditional florists, Clearly we know, but I'd like to know a little bit more from you. And what are some of the challenges that come with starting a brand like this from scratch? Like, if you can talk about that a little bit.
So to understand about the traditional florists, and this I'm talking more about the globals, it's not about the mom and pop shop, but how is it done globally? It's largely a relay network. So wherein maybe they own a piece of technology, you place an order and it's transferred to a florist which is closer to the recipient. This is like a more organized way of way before an Uber came into play. Right? Of kind of a delivery network. And internationally also, Interflora is known for that. The way we do it differently is we're vertically integrated. So it's more of a design to delivery model or a farm to finish model, wherein right from scratch we work with the growers. We kind of right from design with a lot of research on global trends, floral trends, working on mood boards and color palettes, and more like a design house wherein every 4 to 6 weeks we kind of introduce a new collection, a seasonal collection, a summer collection and stuff. And when we curate an experience in a way that is very sensorial. So we will think about it from all perspectives. So like on a typical birthday, we always believe that you would get a lot of flowers, a lot of gifts, and we want to deliver a wow. And how can we stand apart? So there's so much science and there's so much research that goes into putting something together. But that's the easy part. The difficult part comes right from sourcing to in temperature controlled vans. We ensure that these flowers reach our dark stores, wherein they are kind of curated in a stipulated time with our trained florists, again in cold vans, delivered to the recipient. And this entire farm to finesse or a design to delivery, because it is a perishable product, because it's and given the temperatures in and around India, so there is a lot of it needs to be layered by technology, it needs to be layered by logistics to ensure that end-to-end solution can be provided.
Right. You mentioned technology. What are some of the specific technologies that you are using and that you see upcoming as well, or that you would like, that now that you've identified that, okay, now this is like a new problem since we started, and how to use technology to overcome this problem? Like if you can.
So I would divide technology into like something like demand side and supply side.
Okay.
When I say demand side, it's more of the interface, the website. So in the early years, right in the beginning, we were very clear that we didn't want to cut corners and we wanted to invest into technology, because that's the kind of experience we wanted to deliver. So we have like a back-end panel of our own. It's not something like a Shopify or something. And the reason being that because it's a gift, or because somebody's buying flowers for personal use, they usually have a lot of personalization added or a message to be added.
Right.
It's not like, okay, deliver this, but deliver this in this time slot. There is a lot of personalization that is required, which could be done only on our backend. Plus, to have the experience seamless, we wanted to ensure that the downtime is minimum, like 0.001%, or the kind of resolution of the pictures. The entire experience needed to be seamless, and that's why we had to invest into technology and logistically totally 100% in-house. Right. Then comes the supply side. Supply side also, we are very, very cognizant about each stem is barcoded. And
really?
We kind of keep a track of which particular farm, when it is kind of dispatched, what's the journey that flower is going through. Like suppose if it's getting transported, say from a Bangalore to a Patna, like how far we could maintain the cold chain. It reaches the dark store, how it was conditioned, and when it was dispatched, to ensure that the flower quality as well as the delivery experience is intact. And the third side is largely the marketing, because the way the technology is built is we actually get a very deep sense of the way the user behavior, what is it that he is clicking on,
what are they interacting with online, like
and
what products they're liking.
So much learnings that we get, and that's why we build it again in the new range that we are launching. So I think it's like coming back to technology and logistics is like something that we've really invested in over the years, and that's what is kind of really paying off also.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. And I have been an Interflora customer, I have to say this. And everything that you just said, I have experienced it. Like, say, for example, I'm not a very patient person. And I'm sure people watching this are also not. So when I went to the website, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's so quick. Like within 5 minutes, I was set. Like I wrote a message, the delivery times were selected, everything within 5 minutes, and I was super, super impressed. And that's when I was like, this is great. This is revolutionary, to be very honest, because I also feel I come from a small town, right? So there are so many people who do this locally as well, right? But it's very, like I said, it's not standardized. So you have to like personally reach out to them, and like all of that stuff comes in between. Here it's very, very simple. It's very accessible and very easy. So kudos to you guys. Everything that you just said, I've experienced it on the website.
And because you can be sitting in Bombay ordering in a city like Dehradun, and rest be assured that, hey, what you see is what you get. So there are no cutting corners. The flowers are perishable and very unique to its own. Plus the florist has its own skill. But we try our best to ensure that it is as similar or right bang on the way we have shown in the picture.
I've seen that. And so I want to talk a little bit about like how do you manage to do that? Like say for example, you have all these options on the website, like say a bouquet with like it's a birthday celebration bouquet or an anniversary, or different types with different flowers, different chocolates or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure like it's not just your in-house team who's like creating it. I'm sure you've tied up with people across the country and across the city for you to do it? Like, how does it work? Have you tied up with people, or it's all in-house?
It's all in-house.
Wow.
It's all vertically integrated. So otherwise, like I was saying, internationally, globally, either it's franchised out or it's a relay network. I think I can say proudly we're one of the only ones in the world who are kind of having this all vertically integrated, all in-house. So each of the dark stores in each of the city is kind of 100% run and owned by us, right? From hiring the florist to everything is kind of, it's all in-house.
Right.
There is nothing that is kind of sublet or kind of outsourced or franchised. It is, and that is the reason that because we were very quality conscious and we realized that to kind of get a franchise to do it, I'm not too sure of the passion with which we put it together.
Exactly.
It's going to get delivered with that passion, and hence we took a very strategic call of kind of doing it a vertically integrated process, all done in-house.
But then that's even more impressive, because I was under the impression that I'm sure like you might have tied up with a few florists who, from different pin codes or something,
Right.
who and they look at the styles and then they do it. But if that's not the case, then I think it makes sense that the quality can be maintained and is maintained, and the seamlessness and everything is taken care of as well. But that's very impressive, to be very honest.
Thank you so much.
What strategies do you put in place to maintain customer trust and satisfaction? Like, because it's an evolving business, right? Like, there are so many people that might come on your page for the first time today, but there are so many people who might have been a loyal customer as well. So how do you keep evolving like that and maintain that trust and increase that customer base as well with satisfaction?
So to the first part of it, I think the customers are very, very important to us and in the belief system of the organization. So the first thing I do in the morning, like once my kids go to school, every day morning, 7 o'clock, we get an email of all the responses that we've had through emails, WhatsApps, on Instagram, and how the experiences have been.
From the customers?
From the customers.
Oh, wow.
And then, which is all kind of collectively put together. I run through it each by each and see, because a lot of our learnings have come from the customers, like right from how could we do better, or maybe see it's a perishable product, and after taking care through the entire logistics delivery experience, there may be times that we may goof up, and our belief is always that, hey, what is it that I would as a customer like to receive, right? And if not, because we're part of their important moments, sometimes it's delayed, whatever, it's gonna kind of take away the wow or the experience, and that's what we want to refrain from. So we kind of give a lot of importance to customer reviews, to customer satisfaction. What is it that even if we goofed up, what is it that we can do to make it better? And I think that has really helped, because I think the customers also understand, hey, you can goof up, but it's important that you all take the corrective actions.
Right.
And the way we call ourselves the flower experts. So at each part of our journey, we've tried to kind of demonstrate that, work towards that, so that when whatever we communicate or do is to ensure that we give the best experience to the customers. And I think in today's time, about 70% of our customers are repeat customers.
Right.
So that is like a good chunk of our like people may be happy, and I'm assuming that's why they come back.
I'm one of them. I've been a repeat customer of Interflora, and I wish to continue that in the future as well.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. So yeah, it's like, and actually the business has evolved a lot through their, you can say, recommendations, grievances, or seeing it makes your day just reading their happy messages and saying, hey, why don't you kind of launch in so-and-so city? We love your product. And that also kind of gives you that encouragement to say, hey, wow, people are loving this. Why not? So that it's like, it really means a lot to the organization.
From whatever you just said, 2 points come to my mind. One is like the marketing part of it, One is, like you said, so many people ask you to scale in different cities as well. So I would first like you to talk about the marketing side of it. Like you said, you guys make mood boards, and like how a fashion house does a collection. You guys launch like a new floral themed bouquets or something every now and then, every season. So how do you do that? Like how are you, like, what is the process of doing that? And then like the scaling part as well.
So first is the design part. Because we work more like a fashion house, that's how our thought process is. But the way we have kind of always looked at ourselves is the flower experts, and everything is kind of woven around it. For us, marketing has been more of, we've always looked at it more as a long-term vision. And hence, everything that we've done, let it be on social media, it been on, we've always believed, let's make a brand and then things will follow. And I always feel if your product is differentiated, marketing, 50% of the marketing job is done. So
True.
we've always, the first focus is always, are you solving a problem? How differentiated is the product? How can you kind of enhance the experience? And every time kind of create a wow. Like sometimes if it's like say Holi, then we would say send floral color with it. Like these small detailings and the small elements of wow, I think has been the first step towards marketing than digital marketing itself, because
Right.
finally you can spend on that, but if you experience the product and you're happy, then it's going to be word of mouth. You're going to send it to another 10 families that you kind of
Yeah.
want to send that experience, and then the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think you very rightly said, like experience is the biggest marketing.
Right.
And especially in a world of like, flowers and decor and gifting. Gifting is an experience in itself, right? So,
And if you notice, like, you may compromise on something for yourself, but when you're gifting, you
Yeah.
always, you don't think, I mean, you may have a budget, but always you want to do the best,
Better.
because it's always going to talk about your kind of, your
love for the person.
love for the person.
And how much you want to.
It's just
Yeah.
sharing an emotion, so you will not cut corners on gift, and that's why you want to be rest assured that, hey, I'm paying this, but
Yeah.
I want the best to go to that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is really important in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of marketing. But coming to branding, I think over the last couple of years, a lot of opportunities have come to us in collaborations, in barters and stuff. So when we started off, we did couple of barters, and then that didn't excite me, and I said, hey, no more barters. And the same people, and they were bigger brands, bigger families, and we were relatively new. But I realized the fact about branding and marketing is you have to respect yourself, you have to
Yeah.
respect your product, you need to kind of be very confident of it. And the day we stopped doing those barters, people were more than happy and ready to pay, because it was kind of a service that we were providing, which was so unique. The second thing I would
Barter,
like...
sorry to cut you there. Barter, as in for anybody who doesn't know, like people who wanted your
Like,
services, but they give you like mentions or something
right,
online.
right.
Yeah, but you didn't want to go down that road because you had so much more to offer
Exactly,
and so
and
much
the
more value.
confidence on the product. So then we kind of refrained from that for the longest.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, a lot of collaborative opportunities have come in, but I think the trick is to know where you want to reach and actually decline some and take the ones that help you reach that goal. Because
Right.
if you're creating a brand, then you need to be partnering with the right people, the right agencies, the right things around you to create that ecosystem
Yeah.
that will actually position you in the right way.
Yeah.
So it's a very tricky thing.
Yeah, they
because-
have to have a good intention for your brand as well.
Right.
Not just for their own, but for yours as well.
No, and again, where you're getting positioned, because you're building a luxury brand. So then you need to be positioned, and yet in the right places, and it needs
Yeah.
to be a win-win situation for both of us. So yeah, it's these are certain things that marketing is really important. We did spend on digital, but we kept that like very, very minimalistic. Yeah, and I think we've actually followed our heart. So there's no like a formula, but it's just our passion that you see across all on all our pages, and our belief of love for flowers, how we're the flower experts, how we're so passionate about decor and creativity, how we can push ourselves further every time. And so we're always competing with our last work and not with the world, which kind of always helps us to kind of do something better than competing with somebody, because I believe there's no competition for us.
That's amazing. I like that. I like that spirit.
Yeah, it's my belief.
Yeah,
so.
no. I like that spirit. And I'm so happy, like, like, because when somebody sees a brand online, and when when they are everywhere and doing well and everything, there can be a lot of misconceptions, like you just mentioned. And I'm very glad that when people watch this, they will have clarity that no, this brand, if it's working, it's doing well, it's not because of the marketing or something. It's actually their work and their hard work because of which it's working. Because sometimes the people social media can take over, right? But your hard work is what is paying off, and not just the branding marketing part, right?
Absolutely. And because our ethos has been that, like, let's look at it with a 2-3 decade vision, and not like a very temporary vision, because and that has kind of that vision has actually helped us take a lot of the decisions that has got us till here. Because there are times when you think of cutting corners, hiring, like, maybe the right to the wrong people, I may say, or like, you can your strategy, when you have the end goal in place, I think strategies just fall in place.
Are there any other misconceptions that you've encountered that people come to you and ask you about, that you can think of?
So I think the biggest is always that we franchise stuff out.
That we talked about.
Yeah, so I think that, or then that we do a lot of barters, and because or all the celebrity weddings are
a barter, or like a collab,
barter, or done for free, which is not. We've charged and paid, been paid for all the hard work, because I think it's rewarding for the team also. They work so hard, and then every time it can't be, okay, this is a barter, or this is like, not been paid for. So I think that is a major misconception that people may have.
That's lovely. That brings me to two of my other points, which is one is, like you mentioned, your team, that like, it's very important for you to keep the team also motivated and inspired and everything. How do you, like, once you've reached a certain stage, like, how do you make sure that your team has, you maintain those company values and everything at every level? Like, what are some of the things that you do to maintain the value of the brand and everything amongst the team?
So I think because the sheer importance we give to the team, right? So if you ask me top in my list, what is the most important thing, maybe for founders or people in business, is like team. That is like, and when you have it in your belief system, right, it shows in your behavior. So right from having the right people in the team and the right ecosystem. So I think it's unlike most flower companies, we do hire a lot of IIT graduates, like or business graduates and design graduates. So the team is a good mix of
different
perspectives, and that's what, and everybody is best in their field and yet very, very passionate. I think the most important for even today's generation and our team is the ownership. Right? They need to be empowered. So we still, for us, it's okay to make mistakes. I'm glad that they're at least experimenting, and because if they are passionate about it and they have the ownership, they would definitely kind of with a vision in mind. So I think it's really important when the team becomes of a particular size. It's like you need to reiterate and show them that goalpost that we're all working towards, because they come from different walks of life, and maybe it's important that we reiterate, hey, this is the vision of the company, this is how it's going. Maybe there are some slips and misses that we kind of put it together. And it's really important that it percolates down. So however busy we are, I ensure that we kind of go spend a little time with the florist, because they also feel connected, and they actually share some insights that probably we may not be aware of, and there are a lot of learnings that come from there.
Okay.
Make some visits to the growers. So all important elements of the business are kind of, you may not be a part of it day to day, but you need to be very close to them, keep your eyes and ears open, because that is what is kind of effectively making a brand, making a company, or building it together.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a very good point that you mentioned, that you like talking to the people at the base level,
At the ground level.
at the ground level is so important. Like, we get lost in all these spreadsheets and marketing teams and all of that. But I feel like those are the real people who handle the operations and who put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and they need to also be like
come rain, storm, cyclone, they are the ones working 365 days, 24/7, and so passionately they do it,
and with a smile.
And with a smile, because finally they're delivering a gift. So they do it with a smile, and I think they deserve that little love and confidence from us also, that hey, you guys are doing well. So I think as a founder, it's very important to take these moments of kind of telling people, because you very naturally end up telling what's not going so good, right? But taking a very conscious moment and saying, hey, you did good, or keep up, or I'm noticing you, and so these are very important things. And I must say, people who've joined Interflora from the inception, there's hardly any iteration, because they have been with us and they love the work that we do as passionately as we do it. And that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing that I kind of always follow is, at least for the key people, I always think about their growth, because I think creativity is, and not financially, but how they can grow. Like after 2 years, what would their growth trajectory look like after 5 years also? So when I'm looking at it in a longer term for my business, I need to kind of look at it. So if they need to pick up a particular course, or if there are certain team members that they need to build, or a particular skill, or what will it look like that even after 2 years they don't get redundant or bored of themselves, or bored of doing the same job? How do we kind of build in those aspects of fun, those aspects of that this is what it looks like, and to communicate that hey, I'm looking at it from this perspective, this is what it looks. So a lot of those things really help build team culture. And once you do it with your one downs, it percolates down. So it's a very transparent, and honestly saying, Monday, the entire week, we spend so much time with them. So my one principle for hiring has always been that they need to excite me. I need to be learning from my team. And that's what, so it's like a very fun and environment that we kind of, and a culture that we kind of put together.
A very, I was going to say, I think the passion that you talked about, that people are doing, like whoever's like have been hired and working here since so many years has that passion. I can see that trickles down from you, because I see a lot, you are that reservoir, I feel like. And then this is what I feel like right now when I'm talking to you. That's what I feel. So it trickles down, from you. And kudos to you, like, you taking so much of, being invested in your team as well, not just on a superficial level, but on a much deeper level is actually what makes a business run that, that smoothly and
a long way,
scalable.
Exactly. I think that is the only mantra, probably, to kind of scale, to retention, to kind of, or to build anything.
Like genuinely caring about people that work with you and work for you, basically.
So in fact, now you're seeing this spanky office and blah, blah. For the first 5 years, we worked out of a warehouse, because I was like, unless we do it ourselves, unless we kind of be around and put it together ourselves, we wouldn't know what it's going to be like to kind of scale in so many cities, and how do we do it. So it's just been the journey of being hands-on into everything that we want to build. That's
great. That translates into the work, and it shows beautifully. I also want to talk about the clientele that you mentioned, do all the celebrity weddings that you've done, one of which very recently, the most talked about, one, out of which I really loved the glass dome, I
The
think this
glass
kind of
house.
a decor that you did. Talk to me about, all these big high profile events. Like, how do you make sure that everything runs smoothly? And what is the process like? How do you make sure that each one looks different as well? Because the pictures are going to go out, online. So, yeah, talk to me about that.
So honestly, more than the pictures, it is we always believe that it is your moment.
Yeah.
We're doing it's that day will not come back for you again, right? It's not about you're a celebrity, you're this. It is all the
Once in a
brides.
lifetime.
It's a lifetime,
Yeah.
and they have really dreamt, and we actually respect that. So, and most of the clients that we have and worked with and is like they've traveled, they've seen it all. So that really, and that's the beauty of what we the love that we have for what we do, is because it always pushes us above and beyond what we've done. Not only what we've done, but what the world has done, because then they're for your special day, you want it yet very different.
Yeah.
And put together in a particular way.
Yeah.
So it is a little tricky to work with clients because they're so well exposed, but that pushes you further. I think one has to be very, very kind of open to understanding the unsaid. That they are trying to say in their briefs, to kind of understand the briefs, their personality, and all that actually helps you put together certain designs that they kind of may like or want for their special moment, event, that they have.
Right.
So designing and planning, the designing is and we have some fabulous designers, I must say, and who put together the entire design theme and work together. It takes an army to put an event together, and months of effort, because again, it's a perishable product, and flowers are usually flown down from across the globe because of the sheer quantity that is required. Maybe India doesn't grow that at that particular time of the year, the season, the timing, everything matters. So right from there's this entire sourcing team that ensures that flowers are kind of sourced and kind of in the
Right.
cold chain solution reach the destination with a particular cut stage, so that they can be conditioned and put in a way that they are
For the final
freshly
day.
bloomed and they're in their best health on the final day. So one is the entire sourcing bit. Then
How long does it all take? Like, how long does
depends
the whole
on the
process take?
scale of the event, but it could be anywhere from a couple of weeks to a couple of months.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it is just about meticulous planning, the venue, the logistics. A lot of this matters, and again, we kind of ensure that a lot of pre-prep is done, so that when the event is there, it's all very modular, and so that we can quickly put it together and then spend more time into the detailing and the finesse
Right.
of it. So mostly wherever these venues are, we try to put a huge cold room.
Okay.
So where the flowers can be conditioned and stored and kind of put together, because the venues always are busy. We just get like a couple of hours, couple of days for turnaround. So, and it's not possible to put it all together. So there'll be like a cold room, a dry work space wherein we kind
Wow.
of put in all this. So there are weddings where we've worked with like 800 to 1000 to 12 to 1500 florists at a given time.
Oh my God.
And and there's so much planning, coordination, putting it together, that, and it's not just within our teams, with external agencies. There will be like a sound guy, light, food. There's so
So all
much.
of them get involved?
Yeah, because the event needs to look good, right? So
Yeah.
it's one event. It's like it doesn't matter. It's your job. It's my job. The event needs to come
The
out.
collective has to
Collective
work.
needs to
Yeah.
work, and the client needs to be happy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I may do the most fabulous thing, but then if it's not in sync with the
Food or the
food,
lighting
or
or-
maybe the lighting is not right, the flowers are not going to look good.
True.
So there's so much that goes into it, and the synchronization, the planning is the key, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. Talk to me some of the memorable experiences that you've had working on these events. what has been one of your most favorite event that you worked on, and also talk to me about the recent event that you did that became
That
like
I
a
can talk.
that became like a Indian event.
That I'm not too sure if I can talk about, but I can just, I think the beauty and what motivates us will be each event is very, very unique. Till the time the event is ready, you have those butterflies in your stomach because you may have done everything perfectly, but there could be contingency, like there's a sudden rain, it's an outdoor event and it starts rain. So there's so much that is beyond your control, and yet it all needs to fall in place. And I think the only thing that we wait for is like the client to come in, like the bridegroom and the family,
Families.
and to just have to see that expression, because that's what means a lot. Like they need to be happy. It's not like about what we do, our color palettes, mood boards, or what we have put together. Is it something that they were expecting, or is it something that beyond their expectations, and how we can make it? So yeah, that is something that is the wow moment that kind of sums it all.
Did you
well.
get that?
Yeah, I think touch wood, we've been lucky. Most of the time it's been, we've had fabulous clients, and we've got like, largely I'd say it's been like good experiences, and the wows are there. And for whatever reason, if it's not there, like probably they've not envisaged it or something, we go out of our way to ensure that we deliver till the client is happy. Because that's the most important, and that's the same philosophy that percolates down even when we're even simply sending a bouquet. It may be just a simple bouquet, right? Of whatever value, but we're conveying your emotions, and it is your day, and that shouldn't be ruined because, or spoiled or whatever, because of us. And that's why it's the thought process is so aligned that the teams also work towards in that direction.
But do you have any particular moment that stands out in all of this, like that you still remember, or like the first time, when you did like a big event and everything had to go well and it did, or maybe like some moment like that comes to your mind?
A lot of them. Because probably after we launched Interflora in India, the first event that we did was like one of the largest families and the biggest events that we were doing, and that was our first. Though we had everything in place, but there's always things that are beyond our control. So then, and it started like probably for 3 nights in a row. I had not blinked an eye. It was because it's that the pressure and the whole thing is so. Finally, it's an important day for them.
The one that you were looking for, when you started all of that, you started to do that one big event, and now that you have it, you want to like put your all into it, right?
Yeah, and it's that sheer adrenaline rush. Like, you're so excited about it, and there's so much happening that I don't think, the energy levels are so high that it just falls in place.
What are some of the trends or some evolving things or in flower space or something that you are excited about, that you are looking forward to, or something that Interflora is going to come up with that you are excited about?
It's largely the global trends that are persistent now, and it is not like Indian, and it's not region based, it's largely the global trends. But we largely believe that our products need to be timeless. They need to be experiential, like I spoke about sensorial gifting. The way we approach it is in two folds. One is, how can we look beyond just flowers and plants, and that is and get a lot of inspiration from what's happening in the art and architecture industry, art installations. It could be a sudden pop of color that suddenly catches your mind, and then it's like, hey, how is it that we can kind of get it into our collection, or to kind of the monochrome collection that we had. Or now, interestingly, we're working on 2-3 very interesting concepts, which you'll be seeing soon, with a different and a unique variety of flowers is largely getting the wildness from outside into inside your
wow.
house. So like a very wild, fun collection put together,
Wilderness themed
wilderness
based.
theme,
Love
and
it.
which is kind of it's going to be very intriguing yet very kind of fun in its own way. Then it's going to be like for a while we've done a lot of pastels and muted colors, and now we're trying to get a lot of pop into our collection. So it's been but because we kind of cater to a complete cross section of people across the country, as well as across with ages, with like it's a good mix of with their lifestyles and everything. So we're very cognizant about it, and to ensure that our collection is yet very holistic
Yeah.
and experiential. And beyond flowers, then we're very mindful of the it's always every quarter we try to introduce a new bunch of flowers. And they are like, now it's more of the cymbidiums, and like every quarter there's a, because flower is such a seasonal variety,
Yeah.
every quarter, so that itself bring a lot of color and newness to the collection.
Right, right. That's amazing. Looking forward to it. What advice would you like to give a woman entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur in this country?
Yeah, because firstly, I don't believe in women entrepreneurs, like I was telling you, because I think it's like we need to look at ourselves as entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
My belief is women are the best place to run any business, because they are kind of hustlers by nature. Multitasking comes so naturally to them. Yet, the attention to detail, passion, the core skill set, what is required in an entrepreneurship or to run your own business, I think they master it all.
Yeah, like resilience.
Like
Yeah.
it's just there in them. And now is and you can see a lot of businesses in India are, and globally, are flourishing and doing fabulously well
Under women CEOs.
Exactly. So I don't believe in this whole women entrepreneurship. I feel that you should just be confident about yourself, bring in the right support system wherever required, the right ecosystem. It could be a co-founder if required, because if you know your strengths, play on your strengths, and wherever you think you need to plug in, put in the right people and the systems in place, and I think they don't need advice. They are good to go.
Yeah. That's true. Very well said. Now we'll move to a little bit more fun segment, which is called Curious Quick 5. So I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions. So are you ready?
Yes, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. What's the one thing that you're curious about, apart from flowers, Interflora, something completely random and new that has caught your attention recently?
I think space. So I'm a very curious person by nature. You would have realized.
I can fully attest to that.
I am like I'm a
just one second. I would just like to tell everyone that on camera I've been asking questions. Off camera she has been like, without I think even preparing, she's like, what do you do? Like she was ready with questions. So
yeah, because it's just I think. The one thing I love about myself, and I would love it to be there, it always is my love for learning. And every 3 months, I pick up something, a new hobby or a new topic that I love knowing lots more about it. So currently, it's kind of about space. And honestly, I got my daughter was reading about it, and when she spoke, and I was like, hey, wow, there's so much that I'm not aware of and would love to know more. So we're kind of doing it together.
Lovely. Would you ever go to space, or you just want to look from afar?
I think look. My husband is an aeronautical engineer, so probably he's more of that
really?
Side. Yeah, and I think if opportunity strikes, I'm more than happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I really I need to read and kind of, and it really needs to excite me to kind of do something.
Yeah, true. What's the one person that you're curious about, living or dead? It could be anyone.
Curious about, like, I think a lot of businesses that people are running, especially women entrepreneurs. I read a lot about them. Women, men, I think, and podcasts have just made it way easier.
Yeah.
So you don't have to meet them, but there's so much that you learn from them internationally, globally.
Yeah.
Like, globally people are talking about it, and there's so much that is content that is there. So it's not one particular person, but I'm just like, currently I'm reading the book on Tatas. So, and this is JRD Tata, and he put the entire, and what has gone behind putting the entire organization together, their beliefs, value system, and how they've institutionalized everything. So yeah, it's like from the current ones, I learned from it's largely the podcast, and then I love to read biographies.
That answers my next question. I was going to ask what book or author you're curious about, and you've just like answered it. The Tatas.
Currently, that's what I'm reading about, and obviously but it's been I'm loving it. So it's nice.
What's the one place you're curious to travel to?
Currently, maybe Northern Lights. That's not, I've not been there, so that's kind of caught my eye.
Finland, Iceland, that side, Scandinavian countries.
Yeah. But like most of it is, again, it's so much along with the kids. So it's largely, what are they also aspiring to do, and then we plan it together.
Yeah. That ties in with the space thing also. In a
right. Probably.
In a way, long shot. What's the one technology that you're curious about? Or maybe an application of a particular technology?
So currently it's largely AI.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm trying it over so many different fields, like how it's going to kind of change the music industry, to how it's changing the entire creative bit. Like a lot of people are using AIs to kind of make renders and to make presentations to the clients, and how closely they'll be able to deliver it. So yeah, that has really caught my eye, and I'm like kind of exploring that, if I may say.
Yeah, the design application is what excites you basically. Largely.
And how it's going to kind of change the ecosystem of the current ecosystem of designers and that space.
Yeah. Great. That brings us to the end of our conversation. You were lovely. Are there any last feelings or any last thoughts that you would like to share about being on the podcast? How did you feel?
Oh, I loved it. I think it was amazing, super fun, and I think you're a naturalist.
Thank you.
It's like and curious to the core, which has been like super fun, very insightful, very engaging, and I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, thanks.
And I loved the fact that you flew in, like you've come all the way. That's something that kind of intrigued me. That you've come all the way from Kutch to kind of do this and traveled so far, and love the passion that you have for the same.
Thank you. I think I can say that, I derive energy from people as well.
I'm sure.
Breed off of people's energies as well. And your energy was lovely today. And so that kept me also like very like that. So, but yeah, it was lovely having you. Like I said in the beginning, you've been on my podcast guests, list, and it feels like so surreal and a full circle moment.
In fact, that's how we work too. Like at the beginning, I believe in manifesting and putting it together. So when you said, okay, I've manifested this, I was like, oh wow, there's definitely that energy that brings you together. So that's definitely fun. So thank you so much. It was amazing and really loved everything.
I'm glad we could do this. Look forward to seeing more of Interflora and being a customer for lifetime maybe.
Absolutely.
And upwards and onwards for you guys. Can't wait to see.
Thank you so much.